Hello, how you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. Let me go ahead and get screen pulled up so I can see you guys and you can see me and all that. Hope y'all are doing well. Figure, you know what? Let's just do a little just yapping. We had some noodles last night. My wife ended up making too many, so she, just put them in a little container, and so I just heated that up. So it was easier than even making noodles. It was just put it in the microwave. So it was good. Not a complex meal, but and a handful of nerds. And there's like this weird, we got this apple cinnamon bread loaf. There's a bakery in town that it's in like the same shopping center as where my wife works. So we occasionally will get stuff from them because my wife actually tips when she goes to the bakery because they show up at first thing in the morning. But yeah, so she tips them. So every now and then they'll just bring food to us. They'll just bring us a loaf of like raisin bread or something. We made too much. Have this, because otherwise it's getting thrown out, right? So it's like my wife has made friends with the bread people. My life has significantly improved as a result. Anyway, I had a little bit of that. It was good. My wife didn't care for it, the apple cinnamon thing. She thought it was going to be like apple cider, and it was more like, it's kind of like an apple pie kind of vibe. Bread person is a powerful friend. Yeah, we got my my mom and dad a bread maker for Christmas ? One of those holidays, and they have that thing running like 24/7. Like they love that thing. Like they ran it until it broke, which is pretty cool. So I need to do a little bit of fixing stuff on YouTube. Count Cannoli has reminded me. Was it tasty? It was, yeah. Let's see what people said. Nice stream, you're doing a great job. Rev's dev arc is coming along. Cool. I'm glad that people are liking the game dev stuff. I'm not sure how much that's signs you're high masking autistic with ADHD. Crisps. Yeah, that was good. I love that. That's the sound she makes, right? Oh, don't worry about that, man. Don't worry about whether or not you're doing enough for game deving. Like, holy shit, what? No, it's fine. Yeah, we need to fix all these videos here. So I'm just going to be like doing a thing with this. You've seen this before. This is a boring as hell thing to do, but I have to do it in order to do YouTube the way it needs to be done. So that was such a good stream. It was a very good stream to be introduced to them. Oh my god. Yeah, the ads on YouTube or on Twitch are pretty wild. Pretty long too. But yeah. I figure I can multitask with this and it's good enough. I'm surprised that the other Rev, I think her or his thing is Rev Says, and he's got like a anime girl as his like VTuber thing, but he's like not a girl, I don't think. Sometimes people get outright porn. Rev Says Desu, yeah. That guy I'm only tangentially aware of because every time I have to type in like the name of my channel in order to make it, go, hey, you should subscribe to Rev. It immediately starts with Rev Says Desu. Like It thinks that I'm talking about them first, which is like, maybe I'm talking about the channel that I'm on. Like, maybe that's it. Battle Royale, but every single YouTuber and content creator is named Rev. There's not that many of us. I have no idea who that is. I don't know enough about them. I wish to unseat them from the Rev throne. They don't deserve it. They comment on mostly VTuber drama? Yeah, I don't know them that well, I'll be real. So, like, I don't... Let's see what they say. Rev says Desu. Oh. Well, I don't want it in my search recommendations, but...
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So after the failure
you
of
are not
Concord,
Rev.
among other things, Sony really needs a win right now, and they're trying to do that with this recent announcement of an upcoming project, Ghost of Yotei, which is presumably a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, which was a very successful game, one that is used as a comparison point to Assassin's Creed Shadows, because people look at Ghost of Tsushima and they say that is a very well-researched game when it comes to Japanese history and culture, as opposed to Assassin's Creed Shadows, where...
I think he's just upset that it's woke. Anti-woke anime creators. Unfortunately, he does seem to be one of those. That's why I'm like, I deserve this throne. You're besmirching my name. But unfortunately, he has more pull than me right now, so... it is a more popular thing to do on the internet to say really heinous kind of shit. I really don't understand the whole anti-woke shit. Like, it doesn't. I didn't even notice the title at first. The glasses were massive. Yeah, I mean, the fit is good. There's a British politics channel called Rev who's hard right. Ugh. It seems, I mean, like, my issue with anti-woke stuff is it seems like they're trying to win a battle that doesn't exist, and I don't understand why. You know? I think you're literally the only left-wing Rev in, yeah. And I'm like on the other, like I am diagonally across from any of those people. Like politically, not to say that the political compass is legitimate because it's dumb and a meme, but it's a fun meme. When you're first getting into politics, it's very helpful. Well, once you get past the, you know, Democrat, Republican, or whatever your equivalent binary or, you know, multi-dude system is. But yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to it, right? Like, she just doesn't want to deal with, like, chuds telling her, like, the chuds are mad. The chuds are always mad. They're mad about things changing. They don't like it when things change. Change means that they're less important, that their life might be different. More people are claiming that Ghost of Yotei will fail because it has a different protagonist from the Ghost of Tsushima. What's the name of the protagonist from Ghost of Tsushima? Had anyone played it? Jin Sakai? Okay. Like, I don't know him. It's a grift for money and attention. I mean, it's a good grift, you know? If we compare where I'm at versus where Rev says Desu's at, I think you got a pretty fucking solid argument that being a right-wing pundit is way better for you if you're in the anime, video game, circle, like, you know. But I mean, I guess that being said, there are people like, God, I saw him the other day. That was a weird ass take he had. I don't watch him. I was really into the idea of him as a person that I needed to get content from. But, or, you know, that he would, you know, maybe play my game or something, but he didn't, so whatever. I just don't care. It's set centuries after it. Yeah, that usually is how it works. You usually die. I don't claim to know anything about Japanese history. I know they have very, very different takes or pre-Western influence. I feel like Japan has had a very different understanding of gender than the West does. And to such a degree that I think that people think that, I don't know, honestly. Why is Trump on Twitch? You gotta be, if you're a politician, you gotta be on Twitch. Twitch is a major fucking social media website, you know? It's like when you look at the back of your, like, package of, like, stomach relief medicine. Do you have, like, a... Stomach relief medicine doesn't have a thing telling me where to go follow them on social media, but most things do. I think Twitch banned him at one point. Weirdly, this deck of cards doesn't have like a social media thing either. Also, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how close that story wants to go to real history, or if, like, that's supposed to be a real person, but I think there were probably some exceptions to that rule, right? Shadow? Like, regular people were not allowed to train or wield with a sword. Whoa, did someone just drop a bunch of gift subs? Oh, hey, Official Pig Wrestler and Sleepy Corpse. Sleepy Corpse, thank you for the 5-6 gift subs. I'm going to call it 6. And then Official Pig Wrestler, I don't know why, but thank you for 15 gift subs. Because Twitch decided that that was what we needed. Something happened to him and now he's awful, and there were illegal instances. Right, yeah. Yeah, right, though? But, like, people were definitely running around with swords they shouldn't have had. Right? Kalmger. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Thank you for the 5 gift subs. I don't know. It's, but now that I don't need Hassan to play the game anymore, then it kind of just doesn't matter, really. And the compression on that. Oh my god, look at my fucking face. Dude, did you guys see that tweet that I posted a minute ago? That tweet I posted a minute ago is fucking insane. I was eating food, and so while I was like heating up food, right? Hold on. While I was eating food, I like was scrolling around on, you know, YouTube. I was like, I want to listen to the Beast in Black version of They Don't Really Care About Us by Michael Jackson, right? Well, that's what I listened to in the shower today. So I was scrolling through other stuff that was in my like recommended feed, and I got this. What the fuck is wrong with his face? It looks so wrong. Like, at first I thought it was edited. Can we make that a new emote? It's definitely a good emote. He's had a lot of surgery. I mean, I didn't click the video to removed his teeth because woke. 1,000-yard pog. What is that emotion? You're just like, my God, this is awesome, but I'm scared. Okay, so it's here. Hold on. I need to. All right. I can't wait. How the fuck do you open your mouth that much without showing teeth? What the fuck? That face you made just made it look like you shit yourself. I'm sure it did. You look like a caveman who just discovered fire. I mean, he does too, man. Dude, no, man. No. It was a perfectly fine looking gentleman. I mean, his hairline hasn't receded as much as mine, but I think I've always had a bit more forehead and such. Remember him being a total, like, bitch? Like, just an asshole was a thing. Twitch censored you look like a caveman? What the fuck? Yeah, I think I just have a very natural 5 head. Because, like, my hairline has not changed. Like, if you want real proof of that, you go back to, like, the, you know, famous poisoning of Dorb burger party thing. And you can see it's exactly in the same spot. I was just thinking about it. Like, that was a thing in the 2000s to have, like, asshole host. That was just like a job. There's that horrible woman from, oh God, what was the name of the thing where she was acting all like snooty and she had a British accent. She would talk shit about you. Thank you for the hype stream, y'all. 2000s just seemed like a hostile time in general. I mean, it was just different kind of hostile than what we got now. Rebel, not Margaret Thatcher, no. It was a US show with a British host. And she would, like, degrade people on TV for being stupid. Hold on. American show with British actress or woman. She's not really, I guess she was an actress. British lead that insulted guests. No. Vicious. I don't think that's it. It's not Faulty Towers. God, Faulty Towers is a good show. Yeah, I can't find it. I don't remember. The Weakest Link. Yes, that was the name of it. Thank you. That was the name of it. The Weakest Link. There was one episode where, like, someone fought back, and I think that killed the show. Because he was quicker than she was. Super Nanny was hot. Don't at me. Hold on. You're not wrong. Yeah, no. I didn't catch that show. Really. You are the weakest twink. Goodbye. And that used to be like a joke that people would make as an insult to each other. It'd be like, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Kind of thing. Trying to mimic the show. I remember that shit. I fucking hated that shit. That was a whole thing. New playlist. No fish game development. Goodbye. That voice? I fucking hate that shit. Weakest link, or Family Guy made fun of it? Yeah. I mean, it was right at about the same time. That Family Guy and that, I think, came out pretty much at the same time. I was watching an interview from 2000 something with, it was on Crossfire. It's one of the last episodes of Crossfire. It's Jon Stewart and a very young Jon Stewart, a very young Tucker Carlson. And I forget who the other guy is, but he didn't have a career after that show. And it's the 17-ish minute interview where Jon Stewart successfully bullies Tucker Carlson for being 35 years old and wearing a shitty, stupid looking bow tie. And the entire audience jumps on him for it. And everyone's like, yeah, that tie is dumb. And like after that point, like it was his signature for a long time. Like that was the Tucker Carlson thing. Is he's the guy with the bow tie, right? He stopped doing it because it was just like it broke him. Which based. I found a clip of the dude who wrote, I wish I could link it. But it's weird to think about that. Like back in 2006, Tucker Carlson was like 35. I'm 36 now. He was on TV at that point, making a complete ass of himself. And I'm just here on the internet making an ass of myself. He was already the Joker at that point. Yeah, basically. Oh, right. Hold on. Bop. Where is it? Wrong type of hero. There you are. Yeah. It was really interesting to watch that because they have like an ad break in the middle, and during the ad break, they have Wolf Blitzer on, and Wolf Blitzer is like, oh, there's shortages with the flu vaccine. This may be a will this be problems to future, ability to fight biological terrorism? And I'm like, of course you'd be thinking about terrorism at that point, but like there were some problems. Yeah, we ended up having a few problems shortly after that. You're right. I need to probably change the title of that one to not be How to Ivy, because let's be honest. I was there when Tucker Carlson first interviewed Putin, and the comment section was botted to hell by Russian bots claiming Tucker was getting the truth out. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's not my thing, man. I don't think we've worked on that problem enough. No, I don't think so either. But you know, we're getting down to the wire on this election season, so that's good. Getting done with that. Phoenix Wright. Biotech shit would have been really smart to buy back in the day. Yeah, for sure. Pfizer, any of the ones that ended up being part of the... But then again, you're also making... I don't know. I was watching this video, right? This random YouTuber pops up on my timeline. I was watching this video about how they were like, there's this secret strat that people on TikTok are using to get money for being an artist. And I'm like, all right, let's figure out what this secret method is. And it's just setting up shops on like Shopify and shit and selling like, not necessarily drop shipping, but you're just like putting your images on random shit like mugs and stuff. And I'm just like, that bugs me, man. It's not, that one's not drop shipping. That's like that one is like, she was drawing designs for cups, like mugs. Can people use pre-made assets for the... Yeah, as long as it's not, you know, like... Let's just go with yes, you know? I'd prefer you do as much as you can by yourself, but I mean, honestly, pre-made assets are there for a reason. They're used for that. Rev Art mug could go hard. I kind of think I might actually try it insofar as to... Because people have asked to put my art on stuff like mugs and whatever, and I'm just like, I don't know if it... I haven't tried them yet. Adding soap and water to... I mean, it kind of reminds me of that whole like bank hack trick thing. Where it's like, yeah, did you know if you take money from the bank and then run, you get money? It's like, yeah. If you run into a store, ask for money, and then run out with all of the money that you took from them, that is a way to get money. Most people will call it theft. Is it based? Yes. It's funny. Anyone who did that Chase Bank thing recently got charged back. I don't know how you would pay that shit off. Nice. Will the Rev Fart... yeah, we'll do the Rev Fart at the end of this stream. I like to do it at like the end of the day so that we can get all the art together in case if there's going to be a decent amount or whatever. Isn't that a felony? I believe stealing from banks is a felony, yes. It's also, I think it also depends on how much money it is. Also, if it's like a secret hack, why the fuck are you recording yourself doing it? Like, don't do that. It's only not a felony if you do it in a really cool way. I would love for that to be real. But yeah, it's not a felony if you're very polite. I mean, listen, if you're gonna steal from anyone, stealing from banks is all right with me. It's one less, you know. I mean, like, the mom and pop store down the street doesn't have the money for this shit. But the bank does. Copyright. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got that one song on the list, and that was the reason. if it's American, you can use forced arbitration to write bank robbery permitted in one of the clause. What the fuck? Rev endorses robbing banks. I endorse eating the rich. If there's nothing left to eat, then you eat the rich. Like, I wouldn't rob a bank personally because I know I couldn't get away with it. And we live in a country where the punishment for robbing a bank is very high. And the, violence towards the cashiers, who are just people who are essentially more like me than, not, are going to get freaked the fuck out because they think that they're going to die. Like, that's not cool. Let's see, create a template. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the kind of stuff that it's like, sure, I get it. And, sometimes you do have to use violence. I mean, that's just this is the unspoken to part of the capitalism thing, is that it essentially sets up a situation where either you have to steal or die. And most people choose to fight to survive. And that ends up causing conflict and violence and problems. This video is blocked. Let's see what this one's about. This is from when you guys were showing me stuff. Cannot be seen. Oh my god. Trim out segment. Season 1, episode 3. Yeah, go ahead and do just like the whole video of that bit. Okay, so we're trimming that bit out. Just trying to get some of these VODs back on. Let's see, what's going on Twitter? Anything? Season 1, episode 3 of what? I have no idea. World War III is trending because why wouldn't it be? And Minecraft Live. What is Minecraft Live? Oh, the Minecraft events. New biome and mob alert. Okay. First, look at the bee from the Minecraft movie. Is this a bee from the Minecraft movie, or is this some weird AI shit? Because honestly, I don't. It's cute enough, keeping to the form, but they flocked it to make it fuzzy. I don't like the eyes. I mean, that's what they look like. But that's discussing films. Whether or not that's real or not, I don't know. But yeah, let's see. New biomes, and what are you? That's cool. Is that a new creature? What the fuck is that thing? Minecraft Live is here. Bundles of bravery. Hardcore mode for bedwater. They're okay. Everyone wanted to experience the vine. Oh, whoa, what? There's gonna be a. Oh. The Minecraft Experience Villager Rescue is coming to this October to Dallas. Oh. I mean. Okay. Kids will get a kick out of that. Explore the new eerie Pale Garden. Creaking new mob that only moves when you're not looking. So it's a Slender Man. I mean, it looked like a Slender Man. Oh, and we got other stuff. Okay, so that is from the Minecraft movie. As is that. It's fine. They probably just sat him down for 5 seconds to play the game. All right, well, anyway, that was Minecraft Live. Pale Garden looks kind of cool.
These more regular updates will replace the yearly summer update that you...
Okay. I mean, that's fine. Again. No, that's like the creative director for Minecraft right now. So, like, that's a real dude. That's a guy of relevance. I forgot what his name is. I want to say that he's somehow related. Yeah, Jeb. That's Jeb. Right. How weird is it to inherit a game from someone like that? The guy who isn't Notch. Yeah, one of the first guys that one of the first guys that Notch hired. The V-neck layer on the sweater vestie is boring to me. Yeah. You mean Hatsune Miku who made Minecraft? Except Fate, except that this is what it is. Oh, man. Okay, so this VOD needs to get messed around with. Because this one is no fish and... And I have to figure out why it's doing that. Because that's really fucking with shit. He took over around the official release. Exactly, right? Let's see. Huh. Yeah, not much else that's worth talking about going on as far as I can tell. Anything interesting that's going on? Not long after Switch, so it thought the switch to Deadlock was just a drop signal? Yeah, I think it just thinks that it's drop signal, but I'm like giving it plenty of time to switch off. It just looks... He looks wrong in it, and I can't put my finger on why. You know? I think that people have finally started to get into the same, like... He just looks like Jack Black. He looks like Jack Black playing Jack Black in another movie where he's Jack Black. You know? It's just like The Rock. The Rock is, I mean, there's been this trend on this one subreddit that I get recommended, and it's just like they'll post like pictures of a famous actor from like 4 different movies, and then holy hell, look at all these ads that it just added. Holy shit. It automatically does ads on YouTube. Look at this. Just get rid of a few of them. Each one of these is an ad. YouTube being very greedy with its ads. Never seen one that bad before. Holy shit. One every 30 minutes or so should be fine. Jesus fucking Christ. Once you get to the 3-hour mark, you don't need any more. How many did I delete? Holy shit. It was like one every 5 minutes for 4 hours. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Some YouTube video to go along with your ads. Yeah, limited ads. Why? Wait, why? What did I do? Have you considered sucking my nuts? Like, what? Why, though? All right, fine. Fuck it. Frost. Oh. Title, Frostpunk 2. But yeah, that's pretty brutal. This is like the thing where I can't just trust it to auto-generate ads for me, because every now and then it does this, where it's just like, would you like ads? Because you're gonna get ads. No copyright claims on this one, luckily. Didn't play the same music again, so we didn't have to worry about that. I'm late to this, but I remember Otacon's voice actor saying Hatsune Miku made Minecraft in his voice. That's good. That's pretty based. As much as I, you know, advocate for people accepting that nice things can be made from the minds of bad people, would you rather attribute Minecraft to Notch and accept that he did all that stuff, or... Wait, what is this? Yeah, Otacon warns Snake about Hatsune Miku.
Snake, it's Otacon. I have a warning for you. We just got a hot tip. Hatsune Miku is in the area. Snake, you be careful. She could sneak up on you in any minute. She's a twin-tailed voice synthesizer android. I don't know how you're going to battle her. You've got to watch it. She has the power of a god. And intel tells me she actually created Minecraft. That means she's really smart. You be careful, Snake, whatever you do. Are you listening to me, Snake? 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 Snake!
Good. I mean, it was for cameo, so like, sure, but you know, good. A+ performance. Why are video game voice actors so cool? I don't know. You can tell he had fun with it. Yeah, I mean, like, Cameo is like... there was a while that Cameo was big. I don't know if people still really do Cameo? Like, are there people that are worth... Oh, this isn't Deadlock. Oh, it kind of is Deadlock. Okay. We're gonna call this Phoenix Wright, then. Phoenix Wright. Thank you, Mr. Breast. Yeah. Mr. Breast, speaking of, not having a great time right now. He is just constantly having random shit go down. Like, he kind of, I mean, it feels a lot like, though, that, like, he's having his Ellen moment, yeah. The Lunchables thing was weird. The other thing was the AI concept artist thing, which is just like, bro, you have more money than God. Just fucking pay an artist, man. Like, I'm sure you could just pay an artist to do that rather than, because, and I haven't actually checked to see if that is actually him. Let's be honest. Someone could easily just make a fake, you know, account, make it look like Mr. Beast, and then, you know, say he's hiring for an AI person. But, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Beast liked AI. But that's not really how you're supposed to, like, deduce things logically. You know, like, we should investigate it some. All I've seen is a cropped tweet thing. I saw that, you know, obviously Robert Ross was mad about it because he's an artist and he has like a, I think what's important about that, Plum Blossom, is that bad people can sometimes do good things. It's much easier to believe that bad people do bad things and good people do good things. So a bad thing happens, then it's you know, it's not a big deal, you know? Like, or just admitting that it's rough. It sucks to find out, though. You know? Like Hitler in the Autobahn. I think he was vegetarian as well because he didn't like hurting animals, and it's like, weird fucking take. He specifically liked hurting his dog? Yeah, there's yeah. So I mean, you know, much the same with Notch and Minecraft. We have to accept that sometimes bad people can do good things, like support their trans friends. Although that person also might have something weird. I have a lot of, like, malleability over my face. No fish development, and also it's Frostpunk. Huh, that's weird. It's just PR. Yeah. I don't care for his philanthropy, he only does it for rep points. So right now Mr. Beast is in trouble for I guess like the Lunchables thing. He did his weird Lunchables stuff with a tie-in with Logan Paul and what's that guy's name? I don't think that's right. I think that it's possible to monetize being a good person. Her name is Skriddle. I apologize. I tried asking Rev for his face muscles as a joke on Twitch, and he said, "How dare you?" That sounds like something I would say, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, he's not looking like he's having a great time in this image. Like, both of them are having a great fucking time. Why does he look like he's being held at gunpoint? Who knows? He's not doing the Mr. Breast face. Yeah. I don't know. I think that it's okay to I don't know. Is it okay to give? Is charity okay? I think we could say it's okay. Sounds like an okay thing. But is it charity or is it self-serving, almost virtue signaling for content? I don't know. Yeah, they have less calorie. They don't have enough calories in them in order to be... If anything, I should always trust when I get a bad vibe from someone. I guess. Did you see that Will from Baldur's Gate? What? No, I did not see that. Can you give us that? Because that sounds fun. Let's see. YouTube. Also from, I mean, yeah. But I mean, I guess that means that Cameo is still a thing, right? Hold on. He recognized us from the cameo. He's very sweet and enjoyed our Willed Ravengard fan club sus coven shenanigans. Oh God.
My name is Will Ravengard, the Blade of Frontiers, and this is a message to the sus coven in the strip club straight up joking it. Well, let's just say, my peanuts.
You can't do this, man.
Take care. My name is Will Ravengard, the Blade of Frontiers, and this is a message to the sus coven in the strip club straight up joking it. And by it, well, let's just say, my peanuts. Take care.
How to share? You can send it to me on... Oh God, how can you send it to me? I actually have no idea. What do you not use any social? We should probably figure out a better way of doing carrier pigeon. Yeah. Take a picture of, okay, so like take a picture of the art, tie it to a squirrel, just a squirrel outside, whisper my name to it, and then throw it in the general direction of Maine. And it'll take care of the rest. Or alternatively, we might want to actually have like some sort of solution to this problem. I also should probably update my schedule thing. Is the volume borrow still a thing? Not really, no. Vinny, I believe, shut that down because he was having some issues with it. It's been dead for a while. It's a lot of it has to do with the fact that a borrow is really, really hard to make sure that people aren't I believe it's straight up dead, or at least locked down. The problem with the borrow is still alive. Can you upload things other than horsecock? All right. Schedule.xfc. Let's talk about the schedule for a second, because right now it's set to this, and that is not right. Instead, boop, boop, we're not streaming on Tuesday. We're going to be streaming on Sunday. We're just going to put possible mini stream on every single possible one. I have a Blue Sky account that I haven't used much. I probably should use mine as well. I think this is going to be the new schedule for the next little bit. My wife has 3 days off a week, Monday through Wednesday. And so I'm just going to go with that, I think. Abigail. You're a Babigail. Is that a Homestuck reference? No, I did make a Homestuck reference the other day. Someone was asking on Tumblr, what faction each of the Homestuck kids would play. And so I gave an answer to that. Most of the blue bloods in the purple play Tau. So just Jane. Jane at least collects Tau fan art because of their love of blue women. Did I get the Mindy orb I sent? Maybe? I don't think so. God, it feels like the weekend, doesn't it? I mean, I guess it is the weekend, but I mean, like, for me, the weekend is Monday then. Oh, I didn't save that schedule to outside. Okay, so I need to save it on to the desktop as well. Abby! Which would you prefer me do, Low Polyberry? Like, I can not look at your other art if you'd prefer I didn't, but I don't mind looking at it. But if you'd like for me to promise you that I won't look at your... Carcat loves you! Window's open and someone's outside. Let's hope that they don't know what the fuck a Homestuck is. Oh, right, yeah, no, you did send me the orb. Yes, I did see the cat. If you send me cat pictures on Reddit or on Tumblr or whatever, please just send me the name as well, because my wife's gonna ask and I don't have an answer to that question, obviously. Well, okay, so here's the situation. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, that was the thing. So I was watching this video from, it's not Shut Down, what is it? Shut Up and Sit Down? But it's the same guy from Shut Up and Sit Down? Oh, okay. I will not look at, I will promise you that I won't look at your blog if that is what you request from me. Oh man, that's wild. Plum Blossom. Jesus. Habbo or Has-Been Hotel. Why do I always want to call it Habbo Hotel? But I was watching this video on War Games and using the idea. So like back in the day, I guess the original one. Well, okay. I'm gonna find the video real quick while I'm telling you guys about it, and then probably not watch it, but just send it to you guys because I feel like it's too fresh. It's like a very new, well-researched video, but I do want to talk about it because I did really enjoy it. War gaming. People make games. The games behind your government's next war. This video is really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna try and pull it up real quick for people on Twitch and such. Let me see if I can get the thumbnail at least to load. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. So, this is what the thumbnail is. This is a fucking great video because it talks about like the history of war games. and how that war games came from, you know, German World War I people trying to, I don't know, like figure out what was going to happen as best as they could. I said hi to Wasabi, and while she was stretching, and it looked like I just insulted her mother. Cats are like that. A game prototype that had to be banned from its own studio. I mean, this guy just makes good videos, but the idea of being able to simulate stuff for reasons other than war, but to be able to simulate essentially what was going to happen in Red Cross events, like when they need to have a blood drive, or when they need to have, you know, when there's an emergency, can you simulate it so you can get through all the problems you're likely going to hit, so you can be ready for that shit. I'm curious to know what this one is. I'm gonna watch it.
This is the story of...
This video is 3 years old, so I don't feel as bad, but it is good. This video is fucking insane. Robux pressured us to delete our video, so we dug deeper. That one is wild. This channel was nominated for a Game Award last year, but lost it to Iron Mouse.
Prototype that its creators not only had to stop working on, but were forced to ban from their own studio because of the psychological effect it was having on those who played it. And we've got a copy of it right here on my kitchen table. Is that a good idea?
Turned it up a bit.
Now, don't be disarmed by the fact that this thing is played on paper or that it looks incredibly simple. This is a game that's won or lost largely based on how well you can manipulate other players. Yes, there are action points and health, but really the true currency of this game is trust.
And even though there were still people who were enjoying it and were deeply invested in it, it was definitely didn't feel like it was worth proceeding with, you know, at the cost of some people who were definitely feeling pretty unhappy with the whole experience.
That was Luke Muscat.
Sounds like the Mortal Kombat car crash photos video or issue. I thought that was Left 4 Dead that they did that, where they were looking at dead bodies and they just ended up switching to like moldy bread or something because it was like too much and people had to take breaks.
A decade ago. You might know that team already as the creators of games like Fruit Ninja and Jetpack Joyride. It was, and still is, primarily a studio that makes mobile games, and in 2012 they were trying to come up with something new. After playing around with several concepts, Muscat and another designer called Joe Gatling found themselves interested in the idea of something that you wouldn't just play, but that you'd find yourself obsessing over and discussing outside of the game itself.
Around that time, Words with Friends had just taken over the world, and literally everyone was playing it all the time.
Oh my god, Words with Friends.
That everyone could play was definitely something that was on my mind.
Not wanting to commit too many resources to a prototype that might not go anywhere, the pair decided to play test it on paper first and wrangle as many volunteers as they could from around the office. An email was sent out saying something along the lines of, hey, would you like to test a new game? It's going to take a couple of weeks to complete, probably, but it shouldn't require more than a few minutes of your time each day. If you're interested, we're going to be playing in the boardroom with the glass walls.
Specifically the developer mental impact part he mentioned.
Kiss.
I want to know what this game is. They built it up to be this cognito hazard, and I don't know what the fuck it is. So I can't say anything yet.
17, which is quite a few more than the pair had been expecting. Which is actually where some of the issues may have stemmed from now that I think about it, but we'll get into that. This game is called Tank Tactics, sometimes Tank Turn Tactics, and this is how it worked. Each of the 17 players were assigned a tank on the board at random, represented by one of these squares, and there were a couple of stats to think about too. Hit points, everyone starts with 3 of those. If you lose all 3, you're dead, and range, that's how many tiles away your tank can shoot. Players also have a number of action points at their disposal, and they can use these points to either shoot, move, or upgrade the range of their tank. If you're close enough to another player and you do use an action point to shoot, you will hit them, and in doing so, remove exactly 1 of their hit points. The last player standing wins the game. The end. Which, if I'm honest, sounds incredibly straightforward, perhaps even a tad boring. Let's see if I can change your mind on that. How do players receive...
So Oh, man, depending on how many action points you have, depends on how much you have to give a shit about the opinions of people who are near you.
Action points, you may be wondering. Well, they receive exactly 1 per day from Musket himself, who would wander around the office and hand them out like terrible little candies. And here's the rule that ultimately changes everything. Let's say you've got your tank here, and there's another one right there, and you've got a single action point. Now you're in range, ready to attack them if you wanted to, but instead of doing that, you could choose to fire over your action point and give it to them. Meaning that, let's say there's a player
oh my
here with
god, Jesus, no. Oh, fuck.
action points, and they want to kill this player who's got free health. They can potentially convince their other neighbor to give them an action point, and then bam, 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 they can immediately kill this player in one brutal attack. Now you might be thinking, okay, I see where this is going.
Well, I mean, wouldn't just the one person shoot instead, unless if they had to daisy chain? I mean, I guess, yeah.
Game kicks off and
it's just diplomacy.
Forming little groups.
The best kind of like social deduction diplomacy kind of games usually do have like a very simple mechanic that other people can fuck with, and the only reason that they wouldn't is if it was in their best interest to not do so. I mean, that's what those games are.
All over the map, maybe a couple over here, 3 down in this corner, another 4 over here somewhere, and the stress of the game comes in the fact that these gangs, over a long period of time, rise up and then collapse amongst themselves. And sort of, but no, also not really. The game started way more explosively than that.
In my head, I had thought no one would do anything major for a couple of days because I'd really thought it would play out like a game of chicken. Like people would sit there amassing action points, and there would be some cost and some benefit to being an early mover in the game. And then, yeah, it was literally a few hours after, and I think 3 players were dead already, and which just blew me away. I had absolutely no idea how it was possible.
I mean, for me, if I was in this, depending on my placement, I would just bounce. I would get the fuck out of there. Because depending on how many points range gives you, like how much putting a point into range does, it may not be worth it, you know? Like, does it give you an equivalent number of movements and steps?
And what it ended up being was very quickly everyone mobilized and created this huge faction of 12 or so players. And everyone traded their points around to a single player who was able to then, take 12 actions, which include 9 shots and 3 moves. And so, yeah, 3 people were wiped out before they'd even really gone down.
Some of those people helped that.
Just take a moment to think about the kind of promises that must have been made in order to get all 12 of those players to work together in unison, in a game in which everyone knows only one player is going to win. There's no guarantee as you hand over your stack of action points to the next person.
I mean, literally in that example, he did. Some of those people fucked themselves.
Also, what's it like being one of the 5 players not invited to the party, or worse, the 3 that got knocked out before they got to make a single action? Although this daisy chaining of action points did catch the designers by surprise, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it showed, if anything, that players were really engaging with tank tactics, that they wanted to push at the boundaries of its rule set and try and understand it, which suggests a good experience, maybe? Either way, over the course of the next 8 days, productivity at Half-Brick Studios plummeted.
It started as just a game prototype, but it very quickly took over the office.
The game was intended to be played at people's off hours, like you have a few moments.
I mean, like there can't be that much time that you spend on it, right?
Just being that people were playing the game constantly and doing work in the moments where things weren't happening. So that kind of got a little much.
Playing the game in this context doesn't just mean being in the boardroom and interacting with
No, it's talking to people.
That's like saying you're only playing chess when your hands are physically moving the pieces. No, tank tactics was happening everywhere, all of the time. A few days into the campaign...
That's it right there, Shadow Wolf, is that they're arguing about stuff and they're making secret treaties amongst themselves. This is, yeah, it's literally the other bit.
Designers sent out anonymous surveys to the players and discovered that 39% of them were discussing the game between 3 and 10 times per day.
I mean,
18% talked about it more than 11 times every single day. And chances are, if you weren't plotting with other players, they were plotting against you.
We'd made this elaborate plan. I'd formed up with a whole load of people, and we had this. We'd spent a solid 10 minutes in the room discussing the logistics and whether or not we had enough points to make the necessary sequence of moves and kills and everything like that. And so we were all in agreement. I handed my tokens to this person who just looked at me and said, "And now you're dead," and dropped the token into the box and just backstabbed me right there.
This is the floor
Wow.
plan for the area surrounding the boardroom itself, which you might remember had glass walls. A later investigation would reveal that at least 5 employees who weren't actually playing the game themselves had been feeding information to those who were. A number of them sat at these desks right here with clear sightlines of the game and anybody who was taking actions throughout the day.
Oh my
People
god.
were literally bribing people who were near the room where Tank Turns was to let them know over Messenger when somebody was approaching the room.
What did they bribe them with?
Money.
There's one other gameplay mechanic.
What in the fuck? Snowmancer, thank you for the 30 months of support. This... I think that some of the people who got killed early probably... Like, the people who got killed early definitely got out. Like, it sounds like it's gonna go downhill real fast. Like, the entire office is going into problems because of it.
Yet, called The Jury, and Muscat admits that he lifted this from, well, one of the very best in the social deduction business.
The people to which you were so rude and terrible to before relegating them to the jury with the help of your alliance are going to decide your fate this evening.
In short, as players are eliminated from the game, they become jury members who, once per day, get to vote on which player they want to help out. If any player receives 3 votes from the jury, they're given an extra action point.
Oh my
Think about
god.
it, if you betray too many people, even if they're defeated, they're going to hold that grudge against you into the afterlife, and suddenly your new opponents that you encounter later on are the ones getting...
It's a good game design. I don't think this would work as a video game, though, because I think the potential of hacking would be too easy. But this does sound like a just incredibly dense social deduction game. In my experience, I'll promise people with positions on the podium. I mean, I've never been in a situation where I've wanted to win so bad that I bribed people with money.
Additional actions. But like almost everything in this game, it led to a whole new set of problems as well. Over the last few weeks, I've been playing a game of Neptune's Pride, which is a web-based strategy game that looks like this and is actually one of the direct inspirations behind Tank Tactics.
I could see
Although
that,
this
yeah.
one's set in space and has things like warp gates and industry and
Agar IO. Could be. I think, yeah, something like this where you have like 1 action a day. I mean, it becomes something like Eve, you know?
research, the core concept is really, really similar. You have to work with other players over the course of multiple weeks, and the whole time you're sending each other messages on here, but eventually you have to betray one another because only one player can ever win, and in this game that I'm playing with total strangers on the internet, those betrayals have hurt. At one point, a player sent a message to the whole group saying, "Don't trust Light Blue," which prompted this huge back and forth about who had made what assurances and who was actually the more honest player out of the two of them. I later betrayed Light Blue myself, who then messaged me saying, "Attacking me is pretty shitty. Thanks," and then went on to tell me about some of the health issues they were facing in real life, which
That's
of
too
course
far.
made me feel like a complete bastard as a result.
That's
now
not
imagine
fair,
writing
man.
or receiving a message just like that, except it's about Alan from the accounting department down the hall, or someone you're working with on a joint project. There was an email thread going around throughout Tank Tactics involving all of its players, in which, amongst other things, grievances would be shared about certain co-workers' actions. Sometimes this might be a light-hearted attempt to sway the jury, but at others, it was more about venting frustration. And remember, this game is all about trust, so think about what that might do.
This is a comedy
to
skit of a fucking problem. This game isn't that important. Calm your fucking tits, everyone.
Workplace. If, someone is saying, "Don't trust Alan from accounting, he's a liar." Certain emails were even being sent anonymously, and that's when things really started to get out of hand.
The one I remember is I believe there was a betrayal, and it was between two people who were very close friends, and I guess one of them saw it more as a game, and the other one saw it as a personal betrayal of friendship and of intrapersonal trust.
You know, big personalities in the mix, and I mean, kind of frankly as well, different levels of seniority inside the teams, and you know,
I think that every group of people is gonna have a tryhard, right? So like, this is only a friendship destroyer because of people taking it. I guess like the length of the game is one thing. Like if this game was over and done with within one day, I think it would have gone better. Right?
you know, like people who have direct reports who are part of the game, and just, you know, it was definitely very messy and fraught at that stage.
And so after 8 days of play, the decision was made to stop the game.
8
By
days.
now, a few players had come forwards to Muscat in person and said, this game is affecting my relationship with other people here, and it's changing how I feel about work. 2 players had even stopped talking to one another entirely and would struggle to repair that relationship even in the months following Tank Tactics having been a thing.
It essentially just started to erode that confidence that everyone had, that, you know, in a really good team, you want to know that everyone has your back and that you're all on the same side and you're pulling towards the same objective. Meanwhile, for 2 hours a day, you have this experience playing out that is telling you the opposite of that. It's like, these people don't have my back. They're not on the same side. They don't, you know, they're not here to kind of champion
This
me.
is really
And
kind of like the opposite of a team building exercise, isn't it? It's like team building exercises are those little hokey things where it's just like, we're going to do a thing together. Like maybe we'll all, like, I don't know, plant trees together or something. And it's like you have a cooperative problem that is easier than your usual problems to solve. Usually it's something fun. Maybe like, God, I saw this awful post about a woman at an escape room, and it was like her boss took everyone to the escape room because he was really good at them and they couldn't solve the fucking puzzle, but like she could, and it turned into like a really misogynistic thing after she would like wait for them to solve the thing. And like,
to the point that I'm starting to feel very personally attacked.
Now, if you've not played a game like this before, there's a chance you're sitting there thinking, wait, really? People got that upset about a game
I believe
that looks
it.
like this? And I hear you, I do, but as someone that's sunk days, sometimes weeks into similar games, I can totally believe it. About 6 years ago, I played a game called Subterfuge, not with strangers, but with some friends, including People Make Games' very own Quinton Smith. And not only did I betray him, I printed t-shirts for me and the other player who did him in that included the words, be nice, be in an alliance, fuck Quins. I'm not sure I knew Quins well enough to print those t-shirts. And even in this most recent game of Neptune's Pride that I've been playing, which, by the way, I filmed a video diary for that's available right now to People Make Games patrons at any tier. Seriously, you can chuck us a couple of quid and watch it right after this if you like.
well,
Even
it was
in that
like
game,
the
I
problem
found
was that like he was taking over and everyone was trusting him, but he didn't know how to solve the thing. And so it was like they're running out of time. And so she just like at the last minute just opened the door rather than, you know, like she solved it in her head and she was just waiting for everyone else to pick up on the puzzle. It is extremely boring to do a puzzle game of any variety if one person's doing all the work. One way or another. I've been on the other end of that where I'm the only one solving the thing, and it's just like I feel like I'm doing all the brain strain, and it's just like I need everyone else to pick up for me. Like, I don't want to be in this position. You know? Like, y'all need to pick up your end of the bargain. I'm doing all of the work right now. You figure this one out. You know? Like, it's not it feels like a mental work in the same way that, like, I don't know, like, I guess, like, if we had to, like, move bags of, like, concrete or something, right? Like, if I did half the work of moving all the bags, I would get kind of mad if, like, the other person had only moved one bag at that point, you know? And it's just like, come on, man, pick it up, let's go, you know? And that's what it feels like for me to do escape room type shit. Is just like, are we good? Are we doing a thing? Oh yeah.
I'm stressed out and at times genuinely emotionally drained by the interactions I'm having with total strangers.
Just shitpost so they never assign you as a leader again? I mean, yeah, that is a thing, is where that, I mean, the example there is that, you know, you have some better way of moving stuff. Jeremy explained it well, that there is always someone who's, yeah, when you go, inevitably there's just not enough work, I guess. I don't know, when we were moving, like, I don't feel like I had that problem. Like, maybe my family's built different, but, like, you know, when we moved out of our old apartment in Austin, we moved up here to Maine, like, the initial moving job, like, you know, packing, was mostly me and my wife. And then near the end of it, like, my parents came in, my brother helped out, and they helped clean up the apartment, and my brother took over on selling shit on, like, Nextdoor and OfferUp and all those kind of things that we didn't want, like my old skateboard and shit. I don't think it happens every time, but I do think that there are times where it's the, like, it's the school assignment thing. The group assignment problem, it's that one person ends up doing all the work and then there's a bunch of people who just don't. And that's what I feel like happens in a lot. But maybe it's also just that, like, if you're a weightlifter, you should probably accept that, like, other people are not going to be able to move as many bags of concrete as you. And I'm not saying I'm a mental weightlifter, but just saying that maybe. I don't know, man.
Euros. But I need to, and I've had 4 beers, but I need to check on Neptune's Pride just in case anything's happened.
There are a number of things that Tank Tactics, Subterfuge, and Neptune's Pride all have in common, but aside from the obvious need for diplomacy and betrayal, it's the huge time sink.
This also reminds me that, like, Tilda really doesn't like these kind of games. She's good at them, but it's not for a good reason. So my wife doesn't like these kind of games because she finds them stressful and she doesn't care and kind of wants to just stop playing them. Like Secret Hitler and Coup. She's played both of those. In Secret Hitler, I think she won. Like, but, like, it's because, like, she so does not care if she gets caught because she doesn't want to play this style of game that, like, she becomes unreadable. Like, she wants to stop, so she's fine with you finding out. You know? I love those kind of games. I do like social deception kind of games. Because, yeah, I like a little, like, mental work. I like puzzles. I love puzzles. I try and turn everything in my life into a puzzle that I can solve, I think. It's not even I'm not the one that she's doing. She's just like, I may or may not be the one, but either way, please kill me. Because I don't care. I don't want to play this game.
That really alters the relationships that players form with both.
I always think that in those games, it kind of depends, actually. With TTT, I become very frantic and very, like, obviously a bad guy, but also it's because, like, TTT, the time to the amount of time it takes for a situation to go bad is very fast. I don't like tricking and lying to people or being mean. See, that's the thing. I don't consider it as tricking or lying. It's the game. You know? If we're wrestling and I pin you, that's uncomfortable for you, right? But like, you'll walk away from that event and you'll be fine. Do you think kids will be actually socially deductive because of Among Us? Do you think the average child actually plays Among Us well? Because I think the average Among Us player does not play the game as intended. They do not understand the mechanics of the game and they do not play it. Like, I get that. I totally get it feels like lying or whatever. But see, that's the thing is I think that whilst I would be fine with creating an alliance with someone and then fucking them over later in this game, y'all would take great offense to me doing that. But I'm just like, this is nothing, man. This is a fucking game. This is a thing we're doing around the office. I don't care. If I lose, I lose. It's a fun game.
Game and with one another. I've been thinking about Neptune's Pride for the last 2 weeks straight. It is almost always the first thing I think about when I wake up or when my mind starts to drift just a little, and honestly,
Mysterium is
there have
good.
been days when that has felt unhealthy for me. It's also been extremely memorable and unlike almost any other game I've ever played, but there's no way I'll be doing it again for at least a few years. Quite frankly, I don't want to. The idea of something like that intruding into an office where I'm working and the politics of the game needing to play off the very real life relationships I have, good and bad, with the colleagues that I'm playing with, oof, that feels dangerous.
Like,
now,
it almost feels like if you guys aren't willing to lie to me when I'm playing a social deduction game with you, I almost feel like you guys are... It almost feels like an insult to some degree. It feels like sandbagging. You know? Or showing up to a D&D session and you're like, I don't really want to role play. I just want to roll dice if that's okay. Like, it's weird. You should play Among Us with chat. I think we've done... No, we did that with streamers before.
I really hate those kinds of games. Like all of the...
this is a literal plot point in Disco Elysium? I know that. I get that, Raitlor. But my brain, as your brain identifies it as being rude or lying, my brain assumes that you aren't trying to fight me? And I've come here for a battle of wits, and my opponent is unarmed. Like... It's like when I play Warhammer or something. Like, I enjoy competition, but I see that competition is sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. You know? And while this time I may win, the next time I will lose. And so on and so forth. Amazing quote.
Social deduction board games are my absolute least favorite kinds of board games to play, like Secret Hitler and The Thing and all of that. They just, something about them, like I just get so anxious. I get this knot in my stomach. I would much rather stuff that is kind of bound by strong rules and not like because this person doesn't believe that I'm not a liar, it dramatically changes the course of the game. Like the strategizing to play directly off the rules rather than play off the people. So
playing off people is important as well.
Don't like those kinds of games. So yeah, there's no part of me that like strongly regrets that game not existing.
Thank you so much for watching. And again, if you'd like to support...
I just thought of another video that I want to show you guys real quick. Top 5. Oh, what was it? I believe it was this
Today
video.
we're looking at the greatest plays.
Why is this guy hot? Where's the one that I was thinking of? So this is a bunch of different like Magic the Gathering events, and I want to find one specific one. I want to say it's this last one. No, this is the math one. No, that's it. Yeah, all right. Okay, hold on. It's right about here. So here he has to spend like an excessive amount of time. Is this like metagaming? You guys tell me.
Michael Long est le vainqueur de la finale.
Eventually, all the counting pays off as Long is able to cast a Drain Life for 44
We're skipping this one.
to kill Justice and take home the Pro Tour Paris crown.
I totally get it, right, Lair.
Watch that game once a day to learn how to play a red deck. Burn decks and mono red decks have a reputation for being brainless. You just spew your hand on the battlefield, throw your...
Okay, so for people who don't play Magic the Gathering, each of the colors has its own like identity, where like it does a different thing. So like blue spells are about controlling your hand and your opponent, counter spells, that kind of thing, draw cards, that kind of thing. Color influences play style a lot. So red is the color of like fast, like the creatures can attack the turn that they hit the table. They have spells that just do straight damage. They're not tricksy. They don't do anything complicated. It is just a very straightforward, you take 5 damage. You know, Lava Axe, 5 damage.
At your opponent's face and hope for the best. Anyone can do it.
It's a bit
right?
unga bunga.
Well, during the quarterfinals of the SCG Legacy Open in LA in 2012, Patrick Sullivan showed how winning with Burn is anything but mindless. Patrick is at 6, while his opponent Ross Merriam is at 13 and likely has lethal on Patrick the following turn thanks to a...
Okay, so 13 health versus 6 health. He has lethal on him, which means that he can kill him next turn, obviously.
Big Knight of the Reliquary. Patrick's hand is a fetch land, a Flame Rift, a...
These are the cards that he has in hand. You may sacrifice 2 mountains instead of paying Fire Blast casting costs. Deal 4 damage to target creature or player. Price of Progress deals 2 damage for each player for each land they control. Flame Rift deals 4 damage to each player. Pay 1 life. Sacrifice Scalding Tarn. Search your library for an island or a mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield. Shuffle your library.
Price of Progress, a Chain Lightning, and a Fire Blast. He also has a Sulfuric Vortex on the battlefield.
I actually owned this card for a while, because this is right about when I started.
Deals 2 damage to a player on their upkeep, and a Grim Lavamancer that can potentially deal 2...
Remove 2 cards from your graveyard from the game and deals 2 damage. Okay, so just like, this is all very straightforward red stuff. What's up with RevScarecrow? We're watching a thing.
More damage to something, but Sullivan's graveyard is currently empty. Meanwhile, alongside having the lethal Knight of the Reliquary for the following turn, Miriam has an Ethersworn Canoness, which...
Each player who has played a non-artifact spell this turn cannot play additional non-artifact spells.
Has gotta die if Sullivan wants to cast more than 1...
So, this thing has to be destroyed in order for the other player to do anything at all.
Spell during a turn, a Qasali Pride Mage that can blow up an artifact or an enchantment like the Vortex in an untapped wasteland that's relevant because of Price of Progress. While Miriam has 3 non-basic lands, if Sullivan tries to fire off the Price of Progress, Miriam can just blow up one of his own non-basics in response to reduce the damage from 6 down to 2. Put yourself in Patrick Sullivan's seat. Can you find a way to win this turn?
It's interesting. If Patrick Price of Progresses, Ross will use his Wasteland and not have the mana to use the Pride Mage this turn, and not have enough mana to activate the Jitte next turn, most likely.
This is such a wild game.
Yeah. And without Thalia in play, Patrick can actually play a little bit, could potentially chain together a few, both a Price of Progress, a Chain Lightning, and a Grim Lavamancer activation.
Yep. Let's see what he's going to do here. All right. So we're gonna go after the Canonist. Okay.
He's got to hit the cannons first so that he can actually chain all these things
Spell to kill the creature so that way he can cast other spells.
together in one turn.
Yep.
Step 1, snipe the Aether's Worn Canonist so you can play multiple spells during the turn.
Are we gonna see the price of progress now?
You can see him shaking and thinking.
Scalding Tarn.
Fetches. Which is fine.
Fetches for a... So he takes 1 damage, goes down to 5.
I mean, if he has a lightning bolt in his hand, he could actually price of progress, and then in response to the wasteland, bolt and lavamancer the knight. That's a hard way to do it, though. This is probably one of those situations where Patrick's just looking to see, all right, the only way I'm going to win is if my opponent makes a mistake. How can I lead the game in a spot where there's even a mistake for him to make?
Sure.
Maybe he needs to not price of progress and count on the Pride Mage hitting the Sulfuric Vortex. I don't know.
Let's see what happens. Flame Rift.
Gutsy. I like that.
Always gutsy.
Patrick Sullivan is nothing if not gutsy.
Down to 1 health, which honestly doesn't matter because as soon as this guy gets his turn, if he attacks, this guy doesn't have enough stuff to block, so he'll just lose anyway. So, I mean, this is just a solid play to go down to 1 health because who cares? The only hit point that matters is the one that takes you from 1 to 0 in games like this.
And he's gonna pass back.
Oh my god, if he taps out to... Oh!
That right there. Watch that again. This is fucking wild what's happening.
The only way I'm going to win is if my opponent makes a mistake. How can I lead the game in a spot where there's even a mistake for him to make?
Sure.
Maybe he needs to not price of progress and count on the Pride Mage hitting the Sulfuric Vortex. I don't know.
Let's see what happens. Flame Rift.
Gutsy. I like that.
Always gutsy.
Patrick Sullivan is nothing if not gutsy.
And he's gonna pass
turn.
back.
Oh my god, if he taps out to... Oh! Wow!
At the...
Patrick
Flame Rift.
Fire. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You see him shaking here? The guy in the video will explain it, but this was fucking wild. Luigi guy, what's up, man?
That is how you play a red deck.
Oh my god.
And that's the match.
This guy's just sitting here scratching his head, being like, how the fuck did I just lose?
Sullivan manages to bait Ross into tapping his wasteland to activate the Quasali Pride Mage to blow up the Sulfuric Vortex, which lets him win the game with a Fire Blast and a 6 damage price of progress, leaving Ross Merriam.
Basically, the only way that Ross could lose if he did exactly that. If he had done nothing, he would have won. He literally did not need to destroy that 2 damage thing because what that card does. So what he did was he sacrificed his creature in order to, he tripped on the finish line. Patrick Sullivan set up a thing where it's like, if this guy pulls the trigger on killing my thing, he will be out of mana to be able to respond or do anything to stop me from killing him immediately. Because this land he's got, right? It still shows him at 9 health. Yeah, it's updated when they do it. Let's go back to the cards they've got. Okay, so sacrifice this, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So he destroys this enchantment that's doing...
Patrick's hand is a fetch land.
Let's see. Okay, here it is again.
And a Flame Rift, a price of progress, a Chain Lightning, and a Fire Blast. He also has a Sulfuric...
So this is the Sulfuric Vortex that the Lion was used to destroy. He has to pay 1 mana, he has to give up his Lion, and then he destroys this, and he did that because he didn't want to take the 2 damage at the beginning of his turn. It happened so fast they didn't get around to updating. Because they were honestly didn't see the line of how he could win this. But this guy did. He was like, he goes, I can put myself down to 0 or 1 health. That's fine. I'll take a lot of damage, but it'll be 1 point more of damage than I need in order to kill him.
Vortex on the battlefield.
Like, I'm fine with that.
Damage to a player on their up.
There's no reason that the other guy should have destroyed this. It was 2 damage that he could have just tanked. He would have gone 9 to 7 and he would have been fine. But by taking this 2 damage, by destroying this, he ended up taking 10 damage instead of 2.
And a Grim Lavamancer that can potentially deal 2 more damage to something, but Sullivan's graveyard is currently empty. Meanwhile, alongside having the lethal Knight of the Reliquary for the following turn, Miriam has an Ethersworn Canoness, which has gotta die if Sullivan wants to cast more than 1 spell during a turn, a Quasali Pride Mage that can blow up an artifact or an enchantment like the Vortex, in an untapped wasteland that's—
So this is it. Sacrifice Wasteland, destroy target non-basic land, right? I'm basking in the vibe of someone info dumping passionately about something they care about. Okay, cool. Well, okay, so what's happening here is that this guy used the top ability to tap it, get a mana, to be able to use the lion to destroy the enchantment. The enchantment didn't matter, but he did it anyway because, I don't know, he was just on autopilot. I don't honestly know why he would do that. Like, it wasn't necessary. I guess he was worried that his opponent had cards that once he was at 7 health, he would lose. So he's trying to, like, mitigate that damage or something, but it's like, but the other thing is that this second effect, sacrifice this wasteland, destroy target non-basic land. He's about to explain why that's relevant and how all of that damage came out of nowhere.
relevant because of Price of Progress. Well, Miriam has 3 non-basic lands. If Sullivan tries to fire off the Price of Progress, Miriam can just blow up one of his—
Right. So it's going to do 6 damage to him. Price of Progress will do 6 damage, assuming that Wasteland is untapped. Because if it's untapped, in response, he just sacrifices the Wasteland, and then he uses that to destroy a non-basic land that he has as well. I will try and explain this, and because it seems like it's working for some people who don't understand what the fuck is happening, but this is very much a case of his opponent fucked himself. And I love shit like this. That he was hoisted by his own petard. He literally, the winning move was to not do this. And then he did it. And that's why it's so fucking wild.
Wow. Patrick Flamer Fire. Oh my god. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Look at this guy's reaction. Look at his hand. Was it a unusual counter to meta plays? I don't know what the meta was like at this time, so I don't know on that front. But he was at 9 health. It depends on what cards are in the set at this point. But he... It's fairly common at the end of your opponent's turn that you activate some effects that involve you having to tap this, that, and the other. And, like, the reason is that you untap at the start of your turn, right? So you get all the benefits of having those lands tapped without having to worry about your opponent probably responding to you in any way, shape, or form. So this is, like, a very common move that you would, like... Once your opponent is set to like, oh, I'm going to end turn. Well, in response to you setting up to end your turn, I'm going to do this, 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 this. Because you get to like do stuff in reaction to each other doing stuff. So I think that Patrick Sullivan literally understood that in order for him to win, he would have to wait for the other guy to fuck up. He gave him an opportunity, and then he let him go. It's just wild to see. Rarely do you get to see stuff as cool as that in any game. This is another good one.
In your hand.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Oh, this is the other one.
Oh.
It's Friedman. Number 7. 1.
This is the one I think I wanted to try and find, but this one is okay. This one is weird. So this is the spell that's the most relevant. So you make sure you understand it. When you cast it, it does 2 damage to your opponent. like counterspell pairing at the end of the turn phase, then you just like do random shit. You know, like it's about to be my turn. When it's my turn, I'd rather you not do 2 damage to me. So yeah, sure, fuck that thing. So this spell here does 2 damage to your opponent. It steals 2 health from them. But it has the effect Storm. When you play the spell, copy it for each other spell played before this turn. So like, let's say someone plays like 2 spells, then you get to use Tendril of Agony 3 times. Once because you cast it, and 2 other times because 2 other spells were cast that turn. But the thing is, it's not even just your spells that count. It's literally your spells or your opponent's. And that's the fucking key here.
Spell short. What do you do when you're playing Storm and Legacy and realize you're exactly 1 spell short of the kill? Well, if you're Adam Prozac at the SCD Invitational in 2012, you figure out a way to get your opponent to cast that spell for you. Adam's playing Ad Nauseam Tendril Storm, and if you're not familiar with how the Storm deck works in Legacy...
Also, what the fuck? $5,000?
Its primary win condition is Tendrils of Agony, a 4-mana sorcery that makes your opponent lose 2 life and...
I don't understand this. That's Legacy? Is Legacy just as expensive, or is it just like... People say Legacy is the most expensive format? Okay. Because you could buy several Warhammer armies for this.
You gain 2 life, which doesn't sound that great, but Tendrils features the Storm mechanic, which means it gets copied for each spell cast before it during the turn. Adam's opponent, Sam Friedman, is at 19 life, which means to kill Sam, Prozac would need at least 9 spells cast during the turn before the Tendrils. But Adam has a problem. He only has the ability to cast 8 spells before the Tendrils, leaving him exactly 1 spell in 1 life short of killing his opponent.
Right.
But Prozac has a plan.
But Adam has opted not to go that route, as you do see a duress here.
Duress makes your opponent discard cards. It sucks, and I had a friend who ran a black discard Relentless Rats deck, and me and Duress are not friends.
Sam Friedman reveals Stoneforge Mystic, Snapcaster Mage, Land Batterskull, Force of Will, and
a Surgical Extraction.
From a Duress on turn 2, Adam untaps on turn 3, knowing that Sam has a Surgical Extraction in hand.
So what's happened here is that when he uses Duress, he gets to look at his opponent's hand. So his opponent just... Yeah, no, I keep thinking he's gonna be saying something about like the crypto exchange thing, and it's not that same Friedman. But he gets to know about what's in the other guy's hand.
An instant that can be cast.
We're going full MTG brain. Hey, Chai, how you doing? Here's the thing, Chai. Okay, you messaged me about wanting to do stuff. How about this? Every other week, I put out a video on Arcade, right? And I needed to do some art for next week for Arcade because it's one of those weeks. Do you want to have like an art day where we just like do art for our games? Also, hi. Sorry, I'm not good with talking to people. So, what day? I don't know. Fucking whatever day you want. I'm doing like 2 hours of game dev a morning because the programming is boring, kinda. I'm at a really boring part of the programming. Make Rev draw furries. I have tried to draw furries. I think every artist who's like, dude, I'm so fucking tired of ramen. I could draw dog dick. You know? Like every artist has been there. God, tell me about it. I have to tackle the games coding this month myself. I will say Rimpy isn't that bad. it's all very straightforward as far as just straight up like people talking to each other. So if you need help with it, there's a lot of good people in this chat who could give you help because I'm fucking stupid as shit. I could try and help you.
To exile a card from the graveyard in every copy of that card from its controller's library in hand.
But Raitlor, especially, has been helping me out a lot with programming shit.
He's gonna storm off, knowing full well that he's one spell short of lethal, and if he doesn't win the game this turn, he's gonna end up with 0 cards in hand and essentially 0 ways to win the game.
You are using Rimpy,
it looks
right?
like he may be moving in here, so we do see a Lotus Petal. We see a second Lotus Petal. And Mr. Wayne, there's a storm brewing.
Adam Prozac, 2 Lotus Petals out. Mana brewing, storm.
Rimpy is perfect for what you're doing. I don't think you'll have any issues. I think you'll be able to figure it out. Rate my blue-white turbo fog deck. Dude, I played white-black. And it was like, whenever I gain life, you lose life. You know? Unironically, consider getting Raitlor in on that call. I think Raitlor has to go to work. Raitlor has like a real job they do. Like, we can't just like... Also, like, they may not be comfortable with that.
Ramping up. Infernal Tutor. What's he going to grab? Well, first of all, it has to resolve. It does.
We're going to see him get a Cabal Ritual. And he is going off without Ad Nauseam or Past in Flames. He is going off in an interesting way here. He's going to have a storm count of 5. A Cabal Ritual will be a storm count of 6. The second will be a 7. Next one will be 8, and then we see a Tendrils of Agony in his hand as well. So we do see Cabal Ritual.
Ritual is a lot of mana right now.
Now this is interesting. You see there's a bit of a delay here. I'm not entirely sure why.
Sam Friedman appears to be trying to determine if he wants to do anything in this moment.
You're going to see a surgical
This was the wrongest shit.
extraction on.
That sounds good. Wait, when would you wanna do that? Next week? Not. I mean, I feel like it's not so different. We're not so different, you and I, Raitlor. I can't imagine what like being a programmer is like, and people are like, "Hey, shit doesn't work," and it's like, could it just be you're dumb?
And I think that Adam, oh my god.
Boom.
Adam baited him into casting cervical.
Oh boy, that was awesome.
Adam baited him into casting surgical extraction.
Oh, look at that look on his face.
He did not have enough storm with the Cabal Rituals. Tendrils would have only dealt 18. He baited Sam Friedman into casting surgical extraction while he was going off to make it seem like having Threshold with Cabal Ritual was a big deal.
This is a weird situation.
And by doing that, Samuel Friedman adds to the storm count.
Okay, it's gonna explain in a second.
Makes it spell number 7. Cabal Ritual number 2 makes it spell number 8. Cabal Ritual 3 makes it spell number 9. Tendrils makes it spell number 10.
Exactly enough.
And that is exactly lethal.
Goes over the top. Oh, look at Adam.
Okay, so here's the thing. So Threshold is like a concept that if you have X number of cards in your discard pile, yeah, I kind of feel like I jumped into the ball pit, but the ball pit is filled with used syringe needles and razor blades. You know, like that bit in Saw. And I'm trying to like clean the room. That's what coding feels like to a small degree, but I want to spend about 2 hours doing that every day because there's something wrong with me. But yeah, no, it has been mostly just like pain, suffering, and confusion. And just like, why am I even doing this? What's the point of this shit? Discard pile, you mean graveyard. Yeah. Okay, so Threshold is if you have X number of cards, I think it's 10 in your graveyard or something like that, or maybe it's card dependent, you get some bonus effect on your card, right? So this guy, right? He's thinking to himself and he's like counting how many cards he's got in a graveyard, and he's like, all right. He's counting how many cards he's got in his graveyard. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He doesn't move like that, right? And
Prozac space
Are
there.
you kidding me?
Oh, that is some good magic right there.
Testicular fortitude to just go through with that play? Are you kidding me?
Good.
This was the other game where the guy just needed to not do anything to win.
After thinking for a long time, Sam decides to cast the
This is the one I was
surgical
really excited
extraction
about.
to exile the Inferno Tutor from Adam's graveyard.
Right. So, guy on the left is playing Surgical Extraction, which is only important here because he played a spell. And because he played a spell, the guy that has cast, 9 iterations, or will be casting 9 iterations, I will forget how to breathe. Keck, I'm not good under pressure. No worries then. You are more than welcome to join us, though, if you would like to join us sometime. I just think that it's neat here that, again, this is a situation where if he had done nothing, he would have won.
Which ups the storm count by 1. At which point, Adam simply flips his hand onto the table, revealing 2 more Cabal Rituals and a Tendrils of Agony.
Yeah. And then he has enough damage there to win. And then it's over. Wild shit. I do not want to play Magic ever again. But Sharpie Commander I fucking will do. You know about the old egg deck? Yeah, I don't know what this is. This is Commander decks? We're talking older than Commander? Eggs? What is this? No. Try no. Is this the egg deck? Or is this more... What is this shit? Try yes, try no. Egg. What the fuck do you mean, egg deck? I'm working on something called Pascal's Hedge, which goes like, if there are numerous religious beliefs in the world, there are many different ways to go to their own version of hell. Basically, no matter what you do, so rather than take a chance on doing anything, you should do absolutely nothing just to be safe. But that's not true. Because you should worship, Jesus to go to heaven, or you should follow in Buddhist footsteps in order to get outside of the internal cycle of suffering, or follow the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad in order to understand peace and stuff like that. Like you won't be happy until you accept XYZ religion. There are infinite hells and infinite ways to go there. Egg is a cheap artifact. Oh, were those weird stones from like I want to say that was like, what was the name of that? Mirrodin? It's like do 4 damage or 2 damage or whatever, but then not necessarily Summoner's Egg, but stuff like Chromatic Star. Right. I was thinking about this Conjurer's, the Bauble set. Sacrifice it, do a thing. And it's all like, they're all different versions. It's like the blue one. There's a red one. They're all cheap. So yeah, no. The correct answer is to be able to correctly pick the right religion, if there is one, and then worship it correctly the way that God tells you to. And then you win. It's just impossible to know which one that is.
Our work and perhaps watch me get really quite involved into a game of Neptune's Pride over the course of a couple of weeks.
Skill issue. This is that was interesting. Wait, is this about, are we gonna harvest Entropia Online?
To do in this video is explain to you a video game called,
oh my fucking god, dude, we played this game. This is when, okay, so when I was growing up, I was homeschooled, middle school through high school, right? We, you know how some people have like the cool thing is like who has the newest like fit, the newest outfit or whatever. To be the cool kid in my friend group growing up was to come up with or find the next game that we would play all the goddamn time, especially at LAN parties. Like, if you were the person to find Dota or whatever, you would show it to them. The person that tried to teach me how to do neural nets showed me this game, and they're like, you can harvest sweat from the frogs and shit in order to get money.
Entropia Universe, which looks like a perfectly normal, massively multiplayer game. It is not that. If you are at all interested in the economics, history, or just weird trivia of video games, buckle up. It's gonna be a wild ride. But just two things before we kick off. One, at the end of this video, you can look forward to an interview with Mindark, the development studio behind Entropia, where we were able to raise some of our ethical concerns. And two, while I may have some apprehension about how Entropia is designed, I want to stress that Entropia's community of players were nothing but kind and helpful and generous to me during the course of my research, and it is clear that many of those people just see Entropia as a harmless bit of fun. Okay, let's get started.
We
Entropia
never got
Universe
any
launched
far.
in 2003 as the world's only cash-based MMO. The difference between Entropia and other MMOs is that where lots of online games let you pay the developers some real-life cash for extra pretend money in the game, Entropia Universe is the only game where you can also wire money that your character has back out into the real world. There's even a fixed exchange rate. 10 Planet Entropia dollars is $1 US. So, if your character shoots and kills a cyber vixen, yes, that's a real enemy, and finds a gun worth 10 Planet Entropia dollars, you could request a withdrawal of your PED from Mindark, and after waiting just a few months, you would get $1 human US in your bank account. Or you would if there wasn't a withdrawal fee of 1% and a minimum withdrawal amount of $100 US, but you get the idea. The Entropia players that I spoke to were adamant that the excitement and the headlines that this system creates are the reason Entropia has survived for the last 20 years and why 58,000
Is it still around?
Are still playing it today. For example, in 2013, a Norwegian player called Alan shot a monster and $33,000 worth of loot fell out. In fact, before games started using blockchain technology in 2017 to make players feel more secure in buying virtual goods, of the top 5 most expensive virtual items...
This is kind of similar to NFTs, but like... It's... What if you had a cash shop that went both ways? You could spend real world money on the money in game, and then you could take that money out. So, like, if you're good enough at the game and you harvested enough sweat, you know?
Ever sold in the history of games, all 5 were from Entropia Universe. They were a planet, a nightclub, a moon, a space station, and a very, 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 very fancy egg. Players were willing to fork out
70,000. That's 2 years worth of fun. No,
cash MMO,
5 years worth of money for
me. Make your character more powerful and prestigious. It helps to make them richer, which makes you a player richer. I spoke to players who have invested tens of thousands of dollars into stuff in this game because to them it's more valuable than investing in real life property. So let's recap. Players in Entropia seem to be making money.
The John video about
must be making money because the game's still being expanded and the servers.
I mean, the
still
servers are it's still up,
and the entire game is free to play. But that money has to be coming from somewhere, right? Behind the glitzy headlines, behind every winner, somewhere there has to be a loser. So let's see if we can figure out who's losing money by going through some of the different types of players in Entropia. The following is in no way descriptive of everything you can do in Entropia because this game is massive.
I mean, it's on.
My goodness.
It looks like the
I was
website's still up
briefly in a
now.
Discord channel with someone who made a lot of money cornering the market manufacturing mankinis.
Alright, so that's what the mankini looks like, everyone. They're selling for approximately 20 ped. Whoa! 184! Holy sh!
But dividing the different players into broad archetypes is definitely
that's not
the
bad.
fastest way to bring you up to speed with how Entropia works. So let's do it. And let's
18
start
bucks?
with the bottom feeders of this particular
Never make art into an investment.
I said you could play Entropia for free. I didn't say you'd like it.
No, you
For a
won't.
deposit of $0, your character can work as a sweater, running up to dangerous monsters and literally hoovering sweat off them with 10,000 bottles of monster sweat collected over 30 hours of play, selling for $1 American dollar. Although if you deduct the electricity your computer uses in 30 hours, you technically only made 57 cents, or just under 2 cents an hour. But wait, there's more. If you want to play for free, you can also run around the world collecting fruit and poop from the floor. Let me say that again. If you want to play Entropia for free, you're very welcome to sell turds on the open market. These players might be losing their dignity, but I don't think they're losing any money, so let's move on. Gamblers make up the majority of players in Entropia.
Like, it really is. You get to be a shit collector or a sweat collector. And, like, the monsters don't like it when you collect sweat off of them. Like, so, like, part of your job as a sweat collector is, like, to also be the bait while low-level hunters shoot at things because their aiming skill is bad and their guns are bad and bullets are expensive because bullets cost money because you don't have an infinite ammo and everything runs on a one type of, currency thing.
These are the players who put money into the game to buy the gear required to hunt or mine or craft. And they're called gamblers because while Entropia has grown by celebrating the players who strike it rich, the reality is that the core of the game is structured like a casino. In a casino, all games of chance have something called a house edge, which means that statistically, over a long enough time, the casino will always pay out less money than it takes in. For example, most real-life slot machines have a payback percentage of between 90% and 97%, and it's exactly the same in Entropia. All of the main ways you can play the game, hunting, mining, and crafting, cost money, and they have a negative return of between 90% and 96%. So if you, as a new player, buy all of the guns and bullets and armor that is required to hunt cool monsters, and then you use that equipment until it's gone, that, if you pay $10 for it, might get you an average of $9 worth of loot back. You might get more, you might get less, but on average, you'll get $9. So that kind of answers our question. Who's losing money in Entropia Universe? The answer is anyone playing it on average. But this rabbit hole we're in...
That's interesting, though. You know, like... I mean, how much does WoW cost a month?
Goes a lot deeper. In the words of one player I spoke to, it's true that you can't make money playing Entropia, but you can make money from the players. When you see the number of players in Entropia willing
month.
to wipe sweat from scorpions for pennies.
So, like, you always want to be the one selling the shovel, not digging for gold, yeah. I think if you were to play this game, I think you would probably just spend money on it as if it were a, you know, if it was like, you know, that's how I would do it nowadays if I wanted to. Is, you know, pay $16, you know, yeah, $13 a month. That sounds fine for this game.
It should come as no surprise
but
that
anything more than that is
Entropia
just
will
wild.
rob you if they get the chance. There were 2 scams that Entropia players warned me about
13.
over and over and over again. And the first was players trying to sell you something for drastically more than it's worth. Which is possible because this is not only an MMO, a genre designed to be as sprawling and complicated as possible to keep players interested over the years, but this is an old MMO, which has had patches on top of expansions on top of hotfixes, where new players will always look to veterans for advice on what anything is. The other type of scam I heard about was a confidence scam, where players would make friends with you over weeks or months, would eventually ask to borrow something, perhaps offering to upgrade it for you using their skills for free, and then just never give that item back. But one very high-level player told me that when you really have to be on your toes is when you get an asset in the game worth $5,000 US.
50,000 is when people try to shark you and try to make money off you. The highest level people in the game will try and just stab you in the back.
But I can at least understand scammers trying to make a quick buck
Trimming
when
rune
playing the
armor
game for
free.
otherwise
Yeah.
offers such garbage
Seriously.
margins. No, the players who really scare me are the Ubers. Ubers is the community's nickname for extraordinarily high-level players. These people regularly top the game's Hall of Fame where the biggest jackpots are recorded, and they have the skills and gear to enjoy the best odds when they gamble. So in this pseudo casino, you can think of them as the high rollers. A term I heard a lot of high-level Entropia players speak of with pride is how many Planet Entropia dollars they cycle in a given year, which means how many PED they spend doing stuff in the game. Because most activities in Entropia lose you money, there's prestige in saying you cycled 10 million PED last year, because it means you're such a good player that you could afford to spend the equivalent of $1 million US in this game because you got roughly the same amount of money back. If this performative culture with Ubers trying to outdo one another to appear on high scoreboards sounds like it could be quite expensive for them and quite profitable for Mindark, you might be right. One player I spoke to described Ubers as the backbone of Mindark's income.
Yeah.
But in general, as I was
would imagine
exploring Entropia,
so.
I couldn't help but notice all of the ways the game makes it very easy to start gambling, but harder to cash back out. For example, if you put money into Entropia, that is in your account in 2 to 3 days. But if you want to cash out, I asked one high-level player how long it would take them to sell all of their assets, and they told me 2 months or maybe as long as 6 months if you were a really dedicated reseller. And then when you request that money leaves the game and goes into your account,
This game looked actually pretty good when it came out when I was in high school. Let me put it that way, Riles Dower. It has been a minute. When did it come out? You're my favorite dark-haired streamer. That's actually a pretty big compliment. I'll take that. Thank you. There's quite a few of us. Yeah, Entropia. Entropia came out in 2003. Game of the year in 2003. This is how I like to find Call of Duty, Half-Life 2, God of War, Gears of War. Oh, wait, excuse me. No, Call of Duty was the game of the year. The original Call of Duty was the game of the year for 2003. 2004 was Half-Life 2 and etc. So like other games in nominee, because this gives you kind of a vibe for what graphics looked like. Madden 2004. Best action game according to Giant Bomb was True Crime Streets of LA. And Tidman 2, Max Payne 2. Best sports game was Tony Hawk's Underground. Best animation game was Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
you could be waiting another 6 months. I was also quite disturbed by something I read in the game's end-user license agreement, which stated that if a player doesn't log in for 365 days, their character and their skills are deleted.
Oh, my
which
account's
can't
gone, I
make
guess.
it easy to stop gambling.
I mean, it was really rough when we played it because we didn't put money in, and you cannot grind yourself out of debt in this game. It would be cheaper to go to work at a McDonald's then quit, then spend all of that money on this game, then spend an equivalent amount of time playing this game to try and make money, doing sweat farming.
Can it? However, there is a way to reliably generate massive income for your avatar in Entropia without ripping anyone off. It just doesn't necessarily involve playing the game. The option of investing in Entropia first appeared in 2004 when Mindark put a new island in the game world up for sale in an auction lasting months, which was won by a player called David Story for $26,500 US. David was then able to sell homes on that island to other players, as well as tax anyone who was hunting or mining on his land. So, not only did the island instantly start generating massive revenue for David, it was printing so much.
Did he literally buy land on the metaverse?
This property that David had paid $26,000 for was valued at over $100,000 US. And this was massive for Mindark because not only did it give the game a bunch of free publicity, it carried the implication that if you start playing Entropia Universe, you could get rich too.
You don't.
But of course, that's not what was happening. There's an Economics Explained video on Entropia Universe that describes it perfectly.
These video game investors are basically buying a portion of the casinos that they will operate and profit from themselves, which for a lot of players has turned out very, very well.
A distinction
is that buying
even
the
today,
shovel
Mindark is in
or
no
selling the
hurry
shovel?
to clear up. If you make a new character in the game today, during the tutorial, if you ask an NPC about investments, they'll tell you that the real investment is in your character's skills. That is a massively misleading comment to make in a game filled with literal investment opportunities. I mean, what else does this NPC have to say?
Buying
Is
a
the
share
real
in
wealth
the
that friends
shovel
will make
factory.
along the
I
way?
guess so.
Since Mindark sold that first island in 2004, more and more of Entropia has been sold to players. In addition to parceling out more of the game's land, Mindark has sold shopping malls, space stations, more than a dozen motherships that can fly players between the game's planets acting as an interplanetary bus service, licenses for players to open banks, which are functionally pawn shops, and Mindark also created items called land deeds, which confusingly aren't land at all, but are in fact stocks in the revenue of one of Entropia's planets. And you think that's nuts? In 2014, Mindark made available for sale 200,000 items valued at $10 each to Entropia players, representing an investment not in anything in this game, but an investment in Mindark's next game, this pocket monster thing called Compet.
That never came out.
The idea was that when Compet came out, some of that wealth would be shared with the Entropia players who owned Compet deeds. Except that never happened. Compet was a disaster. It flopped on release, development was ultimately discontinued, and all of the Entropia players who invested a total of $2 million US in Compet all lost their arse. But the most expensive investment opportunity in Entropia isn't buying assets in this game or helping
Logan
to fund the
Paul
next
moment.
one. It's joining the development team itself.
I mean, yeah.
So, for Entropia's first 7 years, the game took place on a planet called Calypso, but in 2010, a second planet was opened for players to gad about on, and today, there are actually 7 planets. That makes sense. Massively multiplayer games get more massive as they get older. What makes less sense is that not many of these planets were developed by Mindark. They were developed by, in no particular order, a Jordanian studio, a Thai studio, some of the game's players, and a really odd American man called Never Die, who is today working on a cryptocurrency-based, blockchain-powered hunter-gatherer game called Ameviaraka. These are the teams who signed up with Mindark to become planet partners. So, if buying land in Entropia can be compared to buying a blackjack table in the casino, planet partners are investors who've agreed to build a new wing of the casino by developing a brand new planet for players to visit, with a new theme, and then they're entitled to a cut of the revenue. What could possibly go wrong? Well, apparently kind of a lot. At worst, these planet partners produce planets that are absolutely unfinished, and at best they are tonally inconsistent. Listen, Entropia was supposed to have this generic sci-fi theme, but the moon of Monria is full of H.P. Lovecraft monsters. Never Dies Rocktropia is a planet themed around rock and roll, where one of the areas is a castle developed in collaboration with Lemmy from the band Motorhead. And this is how Entropia so nearly got a planet themed around Michael Jackson, as well as a planet themed around the silver screen monsters of Universal Studios. That was when LA-based C Studios signed on as a planet partner, but sadly, those projects were terminated just a few years later. So with that, I think we're done with our whistle-stop tour of some of the people involved in the fascinating Entropia universe, which means it's time for me to get on the phone with developers Mindark just to finish this video by asking them a few questions that I have. Do you consider Entropia Universe a gambling game?
No, absolutely not. Ever since inception and even 1998, Entropia Universe was built with the view of making it a skill-based game.
Okay, but poker is a skill-based game, but also clearly a gambling game. Games aren't one or the other. There's clearly a skill-based element in Entropia, but are you saying...
I do want to show this art from Count Cannoli. This is... I couldn't get Tumblr to log in, so I just responded to it so I could pull it up. And it's here's a RevFart comic from Count Cannoli. The artist formerly known as Count Cannoli, now known as Ghost Cannoli, because he got murdered by a guy who walked in and stabbed him. Here's the RevFart comic. Originally wanted to use an app, but all the apps came up with the search comic maker or AI. Yeah, that does sound right. It's called Surprise Visit. Hello, son, says my dad. How's the artist doing? Proud of you, son. Is this your new masterpiece? And then it's excerpt from the feat. I can explain. I just didn't bring it up to my folks. You know, I was super excited. I mean, I'm super fucking excited about how it went. You know, it's almost gone wood. And I did not want to touch that. I didn't want to try and show that to my folks. There's just no way to explain that shit in a way that doesn't sound horrible.
There is not a gambling element.
What I'm saying is...
You also got a RevFart in the Discord. I'm pretty sure I do, yes.
When you moved down from wherever you were down to Brighton, calculated risk, or was it a bit of a gamble as well to see whether you like it? When you change jobs,
stretch.
When you go out, if I take my car to work or wherever.
This is from Split Gear, who says a friend did this but doesn't have the means to post it. All credit goes to Queen Bean Machine. Is that on screen? Yeah, okay. It's the fucking weird Simon Cowell image. Would that be a realistic? It is frighteningly accurate, yes. His face is so good, man. Oh, and then Fred responded to this meme that I posted earlier. My metamorphosis begins. The form they promised me is great, but the transition shall be agonizing. Oh my God, my flesh is melting. Oh God, please, our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Come. Did you say go wood? Is that a certain sales number like platinum? For me, go wood means so Steam gives you your $100 back that you use to get on Steam if you make $1,000. So if you make $1,000, I'm calling that going wooden. But yeah, no, the wardens are all about cum and have kitty ears because they're Logi maidens and Logi maids and such. And they're the cowboy faction, cowboy maid faction that Fred plays on that game. Which is why he's saying it's accurate. Here's Levy Master's version. Every version of this face is horrid. I love it. Looks like he's wearing a skin suit. He does. I mean, like, all the drawings are awful, but correct. Fucking love it. I love this image so fucking much. It's so weird.
Right, if I take my bicycle, there's more chance of me actually having an accident, which I did 3 weeks ago. Fell off my bike and broke my collarbone.
No one cares.
So I was really taking more of a gamble there when I was actually taking the bike instead of taking the car.
That is a lovely comparison, but is that you then saying that there is a gambling element in Entropia?
No, what we have done, we have followed all of the rules and regulations to show, which we have done, that it is a skill-based game.
But is it not the case that governments are only now moving to regulate areas they did not have to regulate before? And Entropia, in being the world's only cash-based MMO, is not going to be subject to the same level of government scrutiny as enormous gambling industries?
I can only go back to say what I actually said before. We know what the rules are, and if we look at the rules in Sweden and other parts of the world, which we've shown we're a skill-based game, that we are following the rules which are given to us to make it into a skill-based game.
What I'm asking is, do you think those rules are sufficient? So this is a quote from a debate this month on loot boxes in the British House of Lords. If a product looks like gambling and feels like gambling, it should be regulated as gambling. Do you agree?
Absolutely not. That's it's such a narrow-minded, ridiculous to me statement.
We aren't breaking any laws is not the way. We aren't doing literal crime. Yeah, that's not. No.
I think that the money which EU spends on trying to change antiquated old laws, and they spend millions of euros, thousands of hours of some ridiculous law which has been probably from 100 years ago, which they try and change.
They're
which we
updating
don't
it.
even probably know about and will make no difference to us at all. How can they make a sweeping statement like that? It's a bit sort of ridiculous to us.
Right. Okay. Moving on. Entropia is designed.
Honestly, yeah. Like, he tried to hammer that point, and I really do appreciate this guy for trying to push him on that, but that guy was... He knows what he's supposed to say. He's been doing this fucking gig for years, man. Like, when this video came out 4 years ago, the game had been around for, like, 20 years or something, right? Like, fucking hell.
Designed in a way that it's possible for players to spend incredible amounts of money hunting or crafting in a very short amount of time, especially high-level players. What do you do to make sure that players aren't spending more than they can afford?
Well, it wasn't even a suggestion of crime. It was a suggestion of immorality. Like, the interviewer's like, hey, so it's not like, it kind of looks like gambling, right? And the guy's like, no, it's not gambling. It's definitely not gambling.
Information on our website.
We checked the law. It's not
Responsible
gambling.
Gaming, so that people can go in there. We want people to take rests. We can actually see if they're spending too much money. We ask them to contact us. We can go through their avatar. We can talk to them. So we want people to enjoy Entropia Universe, how it's actually supposed to be.
That's what the gambling industry calls self-exclusion, but this is a quote from Malcolm George, the CEO of the British Association of Bookmakers. Quote, for self-exclusion to be effective, it requires the individual to acknowledge there is an issue with their gambling. Can you see a conflict between you providing tools for players to self-exclude in the manner of the gambling industry while denying to your players that they are playing a gambling game?
That was a fucking hard question. What in the fuck?
You keep on coming back to this. I'm saying to you, Entropia Universe is a skill-based game.
Yes, but it's your players referring to one another as gamblers that gives me the confidence to return to the notion that Entropia is
but you're talking to people.
skill-based.
You're talking to individuals, which are giving you their individual idea of what something is. I can give you many other people which will give you a different view.
I spoke to Entropia players who've invested thousands or even tens of thousands of US dollars into property, land deeds, and virtual items on the basis that that money is not gone because they can expect to sell those virtual assets on to other players. But there's a possibility that Entropia could become less popular in the future, enter a decline, and then that demand disappears. What happens then to the players who are still invested?
Okay, well, just like any, we can say country, any business, it's a supply and demand. So this is why the fluctuation in prices of different items inside Entropia Universe, so that if we made Entropia Universe as a persistent virtual world, skill-based, which is continually being
skill-based
developed.
I'm not doubting Mindarc's commitment to Entropia continuing. What I'm thinking about are scenarios such as the appearance of a competing game, because Entropia is so unique, but that might not always be the case. I'm thinking about new government legislation, or even things like an accident or a fire at Mindarc's offices, or a court case. So I suppose my question is, are you not concerned at all that should Entropia end outside of the
I
control of
wouldn't
Mindarc?
say it's so much... I don't know if this game really counts as gambling. No, it is gambling because, like, you kill things with the hope that the amount of money you spend in bullets is the equal amount or more in loot that you can sell. It literally is gambling. The mechanism to put the money into the slot machine has changed slightly. The money is going into the slot machine in the form of bullets, and the slot machine itself is individual random guys. But that's the thing.
That could be a devastating financial blow to the players who've invested and supported it most.
No, I don't think so. The basic functionality of Entropia Universe is very sound, and it's an economy, and economies naturally go up and down. So any kind of thing which would happen if there's a fire at Mindarc, there wouldn't be any development for a period of time, and it would be people would be losing interest. We would then be coming back, and probably coming back even stronger. If there's anything which happens in the real world, which is happening now, which actually makes people play even more. But
I've seen the stats. Yeah.
Yeah. So though all these type of things are something we take into account. We do have lawyers. We do follow the rules and regulations of what we can, what we can't do. We've been looking at loot boxes. We've changed the minimum age of Entropia Universe now. It's 18 years old. We're making sure that we're really on the spot of doing that. Entropia Universe is not just graphics. There's a lot behind it. You know, balancing those hundreds. I can't remember exactly how many individual items there are in there, but there's a shitload, I can say.
How long was Entropia operating with the minimum age of players not being 18?
We changed that.
Oh my god.
Wow. Oh, so
but
2003 to 2019.
We did have it that I think it was 14 or 15, but you needed your parental consent.
Just one final question. While interviewing,
I played this game when I was real fucking young. I didn't even think about that. We had enough sense to know that, like, if we couldn't make it collecting sweat, then, you know.
Viewing one of Entropia's players, heard about one player that player knew who found themselves so compelled to appear on the Hall of Fame in Entropia to be one of the people who got the biggest rewards when crafting that he had to refinance his house, a case of a player absolutely spending more money than they can afford. Actually, I just wanted to know on a personal level how that makes you feel.
I think you can just look around in the real world and see there's people which I know personally, and then nothing to do with Entropia Universe, which have got themselves in problems, which things happen personally which change people's lives. We want to make people's lives better. We want to help them and control, and not control it, but we can control their gameplay in a way so that they can be free to do what they want to do, but in a safe environment as well.
You want to ensure that they make sure they play responsibly.
Yes, that's it. You know, there's no advantage for us as a company to have people getting themselves into trouble.
If they're not still having fun when they're losing, then maybe it's time to stop.
Responsible gaming.
We would like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is a website for getting better at things you're not very good at.
This is why the most replayed here.
For funding this video and the work that People Make Games does. If you'd like to fund more videos like this one, you can get in on the action at patreon.com/peoplemakegames.
I am just wow. Like, you don't need responsible gaming for fucking Mario. I don't need responsible gaming for, I don't know, fucking Deadlock. I don't need responsible gaming for who knows what other random fucking... I don't need responsible gaming for Cobalt Core. As long as I, like, make sure I eat shit and sleep, I'm fine to play as much Cobalt Core as I really would want to, right? The game itself is not a negative thing. But, like, holy shit, fuck. I can't imagine being in that set. I mean, I did get really deep into that game, but like, yeah. I'm just saying, you know, doing a lighthearted palate cleanser. I think my wife is home. So I was going to wrap it up here. But wow. Wow. Do you need responsible gaming for the Communist Manifesto? Yes. Ideas like that might cause you to do something crazy. Anyway, I need to go see my wife and kiss her, which is the point of life, or at least somewhat. There are side effects of the Communist Manifesto. Yeah, you're right. You should stay hydrated. But I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Remember, the new schedule is this. Monday, Tuesday, I'm not streaming now. Every other day of the week I am. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay? That was a weird face I just made. Can I do the weird... Do I look like Simon Cowell? I'm showing too much teeth. It's so hard to not show your teeth. Like, I would have to, like, remove teeth to do it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's right there. That was it. You have to pog and not show teeth. I'm pretty sure I just pulled it off. I'm really happy now. All right. Your skin suit is showing. All right.